The high desert was burning red beneath the sinking sun when they brought her to him, tied at the wrists, dust clinging to her hair, and eyes that carried the weight of a storm. The ranch hands were laughing, the kind of laughter that echoed cruelty more than humor. "She's yours now, Sam," one of them hollered, dropping the rope at his boots. "A gift from the town boys. A little joke to keep you company out here." Their horses turned, hooves scattering grit as they rode off, still chuckling at their own cruelty. Sam Baxter stood there in silence, his hand tightening around the rail of the corral. He didn't say a word until the last echo of their mockery had vanished behind the hills. Only then did he look at her, the Apache woman, standing proud despite the rope and humiliation. Her stare was unflinching, carved with fury and pride. She did not beg, did not speak. She was no one's joke. Sam cut the rope with his knife. "You're free," he said quietly. The woman didn't move. Her gaze stayed locked on his, suspicious, fierce. "You think I'm fool enough to run," she said finally, her English rough but clear. "You think I'll thank you?" Sam shook his head. "No, I think you're hungry, and I think the desert won't forgive you if you walk into it tonight." He turned and walked toward the small wooden house by the corral. The sound of the wind filled the space between them. He left the door open. Minutes passed before he heard the slow crunch of her footsteps behind him. Inside, the ranch was sparse: a cot, a table, a few tools hanging on the wall. A kettle hissed on the stove. Sam poured her water, then handed her a piece of bread. She took it without looking at him, biting like a wolf that hadn't eaten in days. "What's your name?" he asked. She didn't answer. "They call you something, don't they?" Silence. He nodded once, accepting it. "All right. You can sleep here tonight. Tomorrow, you go where you please." Her eyes flicked up sharply. "You think I have a place?" He didn't respond. They sat in silence until the wind outside softened and the desert turned blue with night. That night, Sam couldn't sleep. He sat by the window, watching the shadows of clouds crawl across the moonlit sand. Every so often, he looked toward the cot where the woman lay, her face half hidden in the blanket. He wondered what her story was, what she'd lost, what pain she carried that burned so bright in her eyes. He thought of the laughter, of the men who'd brought her, and felt a slow anger rising in his chest. Morning came with dust and sunlight. Sam saddled his horse, thinking she'd be gone by now. But when he stepped outside, she was there, stacking wood by the corral, her long hair whipping in the wind. "You don't have to do that," he said. "I said you're free." She looked at him then, for the first time without hatred. "Free," she echoed. "You think a woman taken from her people can be free? The desert is full of your kind's graves. Maybe mine will be one more." Sam didn't answer. Instead, he picked up an axe and joined her in silence, chopping the wood beside her. By noon, they'd built a small pile. She turned to him, sweat streaking her face. "You work hard," she said, almost grudgingly. "Why live alone?" Sam's gaze drifted to the horizon. "Because people break what they can't understand." She looked away, but he caught the flicker of something in her expression, the faintest tremor of understanding. Over the next days, she stayed. She never said she would, but she did. Sam began calling her Nita, Bear, the name he'd once heard a trader use for women of strength among the Apache. She didn't protest. Each morning, she worked beside him, feeding the horses, patching fences, grinding corn. They spoke little, but the silence between them began to change. It was no longer sharp and wary. It became heavy with unspoken things: respect, sorrow, questions that neither dared to voice. One afternoon, riders appeared on the ridge. Sam saw the glint of rifles before they even called out. It was the same men from town, the ones who'd brought Nita as a joke. "Baxter," one shouted. "You still got your little prize?" Sam's jaw tightened. "You'd best turn back," he said. The men laughed. "Come on, Sam, we were just having fun. No harm meant." Nita stood behind him, eyes narrowing. Sam's hand hovered near his revolver. "You call this fun," he said. "Bringing a human being like a stray dog?" The lead rider smirked. "She ain't human to most folks around here." The air went still. Sam's voice dropped low. "Then maybe most folks around here need reminding." Before the man could reply, Sam fired a single shot, not at him, but at the ground by his horse's hooves. The animal reared, nearly throwing its rider. Next time, Sam said coldly. I won't miss. The men backed off, muttering curses as they turned and rode away. When the dust settled, Sam turned and found Nita watching him, her expression unreadable. Why? She asked. Why risk your life for me? Sam holstered his gun. Because I'm tired of watching good people suffer while cowards laugh. That night, Nita spoke of her tribe for the first time, of how her people had been scattered by soldiers, their camps burned. They took everything, she said softly. And still, I live. Sometimes I hate that. Sam listened, saying nothing. When she finished, she looked at him with quiet defiance. You pity me? No, he said. I understand you. Her lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. You think understanding can heal a wound this deep? Sam looked into the fire. Maybe not, but it can stop us from making more. Days turned into weeks. The ranch began to change, small things at first. Nita planted seeds by the window, mended torn cloth, taught Sam words from her language. She laughed once, just once, when he mispronounced one. He found himself waiting for that sound again, though he never said it. But the world beyond their ranch wasn't done with. Worse for yourself. Sam could feel her trembling behind him, not from fear, but fury. You'll have to shoot me first, he said evenly. The commander frowned. You'd stand against your own for her. Sam met his gaze. She's not my enemy. Maybe that's what scares you. For a long, silent moment, the only sound was the rain. Then the commander's hand went to his revolver. Nita's arrow flew first, striking the ground beside his horse, close enough to make him flinch. The horse reared, and chaos erupted. Gunfire cracked through the storm. Sam grabbed Nita and pulled her behind the trough, bullets splintering the wood above them. The soldiers advanced, shouting orders through the downpour. Sam returned fire, aiming low, just to drive them back. You can't win this, he shouted over the rain. They'll bring more. Nita's eyes blazed. Then we fight until we can't. The standoff raged for what felt like hours. Then suddenly, silence, broken only by the hiss of rain on burning gunpowder. When Sam peeked over the trough, the soldiers were retreating, dragging one of their wounded. The commander glared back from the ridge. This isn't over, Baxter, he shouted. You're a traitor now. When we return, we'll burn this place to the ground. They rode off into the distance, their threat hanging in the air like smoke. Sam sank to his knees, breathless, mud and blood mixing at his boots. Nita dropped her bow, staring into the rain. They'll come again, she whispered, and they'll bring more. Then we'll be ready, Sam said. Or we'll run. She turned to him, her eyes softening. You would give up everything for me? I already did, he said quietly. The moment I chose what was right over what was safe. That night, as lightning flashed across the plains, Nita told him a story from her people, of two spirits, one born of the earth and one of the wind, who fought until they learned they were not enemies, but halves of the same soul. You and I, she said, we are like them. You from your world, I from mine. Both broken, both lost. Sam nodded. Maybe together we find what we were supposed to be, for the first time. She smiled, faint and fragile, like dawn after a long night. The next morning, they prepared to leave. Sam packed what little they had, food, water, tools, while Nita gathered seeds and wrapped them in cloth. We'll go north, he said. There are valleys there where the soldiers don't ride. Maybe start anew. She looked toward the horizon. Home is not a place, she murmured. It is the people who choose to stand with you. But fate wasn't done testing them. Before they could saddle the horses, a cloud of dust appeared on the horizon. Not 3 riders this time, but a dozen. The soldiers had returned. No time, Sam said. Go, Nita. She shook her head fiercely. We run together, or not at all. The roar of hooves grew louder. Sam's heart hammered as he grabbed his rifle. Into the canyon, he shouted. Follow the stream. They, them. One evening, a rider came bearing news. The nearby fort's commander wanted to question Sam about harboring a native fugitive. Nita's name was on the list. Sam knew what that meant. They'll come, he told her. Soldiers don't ask twice. She didn't flinch. Then I'll go before they arrive. No, he said. If you leave, they'll hunt you down. If you stay, maybe we can make them see reason. Her eyes met his. Reason, she whispered. Among men who see me as nothing. That night, thunder rolled across the plains. Nita stood at the doorway, looking into the storm. "We're alone," she said quietly. "It's time to do what must be done." Her words carried no fear, only resolve. Sam joined her, gripping the rifle at his side. "What do you mean?" he asked. She turned toward him, the lightning flashing in her eyes. "If they come for me, I will not be taken alive." Sam shook his head. "No one dies tonight. Not you. Not here." "Then what must be done, rancher?" she asked. "Tell me." He stepped closer, his voice steady. "We stand, together, and make them see we're not their joke." Outside, the rain began to fall, hard and cold. Inside that small wooden house, two souls once broken by others now forged something unspoken. Not love. Not yet, but something fierce and real. As the storm raged, Sam knew the next dawn would bring blood or change. And in that moment, the desert itself seemed to hold its breath. The rain hadn't stopped by sunrise. The desert that once shimmered in gold was now drowned in gray. The horizon blurred in mist. Sam stood by the corral, tightening the saddle straps, his face cold with determination. Nita stood behind him, a bow in her hand, her own, carved from desert wood she had shaped during sleepless nights. "They'll come from the south," she said quietly. "The fort road runs that way." Sam nodded. He'd seen enough storms, both of weather and men, to know that one was coming. "We don't have to fight," he said. "If we can talk, if we can show them." She cut him off sharply. "Men who take people as gifts do not listen. They only see power." Her voice cracked like dry earth. "And they fear losing it." The wind rose, whistling through the valley. The horses grew restless, snorting as if they too sensed the danger. Sam glanced toward the hills, and then he saw them. Three dark shapes cresting the ridge, growing larger as they rode closer. Soldiers. Their uniforms glistened with wet dust, rifles slung over their shoulders. The lead rider raised a hand as they approached. "Samuel Baxter," he called out. "By order of the fort, we're here for the Apache woman. Turn her over peacefully, and there'll be no trouble." Sam stepped forward. "She's done nothing wrong," he said. "She's free." The soldier's eyes hardened. "She escaped federal custody. That makes her property of the government." Nita's bow rose like a shadow behind. "Sam," the commander's horse shifted uneasily. "Put the weapon down, woman," he barked. "Don't make this." Ran, the sound of pursuit echoing behind them. Bullets tore through the brush. One struck a rock beside Nita, spraying shards into her arm. She stumbled, but Sam caught her. "Keep going." They reached the canyon's bend where the stream cut through stone. Sam turned, firing at the soldiers closing in. One fell, another pulled back, but they kept coming. Then Nita stopped, looking toward the ridge above them. "There," she cried. "The rocks, shoot them." Sam understood. He aimed high, firing at the weak cliffside. The echo thundered through the canyon, and then the ground shook. A wall of boulders crashed down, sealing the path behind them, cutting off the soldiers' advance. When the dust cleared, they stood in silence, breathing hard, their hands still clasped. "We can't go back now," Sam said. "Good," Nita whispered. "Then we go forward." They followed the narrow stream north until the land opened into a green valley untouched by war. For the first time, Sam saw her face soften, not as a captive, not as a fugitive, but as someone free. Seasons passed. They built a new life in that hidden valley, a cabin by the water, a small garden, horses grazing under the pines. Sam learned her language. She learned his. They didn't speak of the soldiers again. The world had forgotten them, and maybe that was mercy. At night, by the fire, Nita would sing the old songs of her tribe, soft, haunting melodies that carried through the trees. And sometimes, Sam would hum along, his voice low and uncertain, until her laughter filled the air. One evening, she stood at the door, watching the sunset paint the valley in gold. "Do you think they'll ever come?" she asked. Sam shook his head. "If they do, they'll find nothing but ghosts." She smiled. "Then let us live like those who have already died, fearless." He looked at her then, realizing how far they'd come from that cruel day when she'd been brought to him as a joke. What began in humiliation had become a story of defiance, of two souls remade by kindness and fire. Years later, travelers would speak of a rancher and an Apache woman who lived deep in the northern canyons, guarding the valley from those who sought to claim it. Some said they were spirits, protectors of the lost. Others said they were just two people who refused to bow to the cruelty of men. And if you listened closely, on nights when the wind carried the scent of rain, you could still hear her voice whispering through the pines, "We're alone. It's time to do what must be done." But now, those words no longer carried fear, only strength, only peace. Their story became legend, not of war or conquest, but of understanding. A tale reminding every listener that courage is not in the fight itself, but in choosing what is right when the world turns cruel. And to everyone hearing their story today, remember, heroes are not born from comfort. They rise from pain, from defiance, from standing for what others fear to defend. If you believe, stories like this still matter. If you believe courage and compassion can still change hearts, then subscribe to Auto Luxurious, where tales of resilience, honor, and humanity live on through every word.